Troopers and grinders, welcome to the first ever Hank the Tank Run UFC post show for UFC Fight Night Edmonton, Moreno versus Albazi. And boy howdy, troopers and grinders, did this card sure suck. Wow. Fantastic stuff, troopers and grinders. I was had my eyes taped open the entire time as I was watching this because I have to watch this card all the way through in order to do Hank the Tank's post show. But God, it was tough during moments because yeah, not a lot of finishes at all. Even the main event went to a decision. The co-main event went to a decision. The fight between the light heavyweights went to a decision, and the one knockout we had on this show was Dustin Stoltzfus knocking out the ever-durable Marc-Andre Barriault. And then, I don't know, there was a submission somewhere. Yusuf Zalal, the great fucking Yusuf Zalal, and Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, they got some finishes as well. Yippee! Hooray! Hooray! Nobody cares, and no one's going to remember it. But what is going to be a memorable result, and one that will be burned into my brain for the rest of my damn life, was the results of Idaho Skatesman and Hank the Tank's picks contest for this card. We came very close. We cut it close, troopers and grinders. Idaho Skatesman number 1, Hank the Tank number 2 on the Rush Hour Tapology Fight League. I'd say Skate Tank fucking swept this card. Going into the main card halfway through, I think we'd already racked up like 10. Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean like 9 to 10 picks already going into the main card. All came down to that co-main event between Thug Rose, Nama Yunus, and Aaron Blanchfield. And that was a very close fight. Did not expect Blanchfield to get as many takedowns as she did, but she did. She tapped into that fighter spirit, and she found a way to win. So good for the Idaho Skatesman, number 1, finally on the event competition for the year. Idaho Skatesman, congratulations, sir. There you go. And we'll get to that later when we do our recap for the show. But let's talk about the card, shall we? Yeah, it honestly wasn't that great. Wasn't fun. The main event was actually pretty fantastic. Lots of back and forth, lots of wobbly moments, knockdowns, cool exchanges. They even tried to pull a Holloway and Ricardo Lamas. Not Holloway and Gaethje, Ricardo Lamas. They tried to pull one of those. Why don't we just get to the main event? First, let's read through some comments, shall we? 30-second, baby. All right. Second, first, yeah. Number 1, Idaho Skatesman. It sucked. It sure did. Number 1, Moreno be good. Thank God for that. We could actually have some fucking hype at flyweight. It's not an Uber driver. Credibility plus 500. For who? Oh, for the channel? Yeah, definitely. All right. Number 2, at Hank the Tank. Who won? Idaho Skatesman won in terms of our little competition, but in terms of the main event, Brandon Moreno pulled off the win. Honestly, dominant performance from Brandon Moreno. I think he won every single round. Even the round where he got dropped at the start, he rallied back and he got more significant strikes. Credibility plus 500. Yay, my credibility been shite lately. Well, it's back. We are so back, folks. Let's talk about the main event between Brandon Moreno and Amir Albazi. Let's run through it. Again, and I think this helped a lot of people's theories towards this fight. Brandon Moreno, I don't think he was ready for Brandon Royval on short notice. If he had prepared for that fight with Royval, might have been a different deal entirely, I'm telling you. Like, I think Brandon would have been way more geared towards wrestling, submission offense. Could have even got a finish on top against Brandon Royval, in my estimation. But he was expecting this fight with Amir Albazi before that, and I think he was a little shaken by the shakeup. And that resulted in him only throwing a bunch of overhands, not really grappling all that much. This is where we see real Moreno, the guy who took Alexandre Pantoja to a split decision in their second title fight. Like, this is the Moreno that we were expecting to see against Brandon Royval. That's what I picked. I picked the Moreno that we usually see, and the Brandon Moreno who's usually really good, got it done. Just really slick combinations, always coming in with that great body kick and that great leg kick just out of nowhere. He's so fast with it. Great combinations. Good at pressuring Albazi against the fence. And when Albazi got the takedowns on Moreno, he just scooted his way all the way back up. So the one advantage that Amir Albazi had over Brandon Moreno was completely neutralized. Round 2, he does a lot of the same big combinations, coming in quick with the right hand, just making sure to outpace Amir Albazi for a lot of this thing. Now, Albazi did connect with a few shots in every single round. Like, he was able to do a bit of damage on Brandon Moreno and wobble him, especially in the third round. He dropped Moreno, and everybody was really shocked about that. But then Moreno just comes right back, hits him to the body, 1-2 up the pipe, shovel uppercut, leg kick. Like, this is just a Brandon Moreno special, and I don't think Amir Albazi was just prepared for this kind of Moreno. Like, Albazi throws way less strikes. You could see it in the significant strike numbers. But when he was able to get a significant strike, it was very significant and very impactful. But, that's not enough to win you rounds unless you're Marlon Vera against Rob Font. And by round 4 and round 5, Moreno was just doing a lot of what he was doing in that second round, just putting 2 and 2 together, putting his 1-2s together, body kicks, pressure, go for takedowns, rinse and repeat. He just had Albazi's number for a lot of this thing. It was just way too fast for him. And then by round 5, Albazi was clearly beat. He had a big, not just a cut, like a bruised eye that was just fully swelled up. Couldn't see out of it. And actually, the moment where he was probably stumbled the most and where we were the closest to getting a finish was when Moreno hit him in his blind spot where he couldn't see and just completely sent him off balance. Head kick, pressured up against the fence. And I thought that Moreno was going to get the finish because he just wobbled Albazi too many times. But Amir showed to be pretty damn tough. He survived Moreno even in the later stages. And then Albazi pointed at the ground, and so they gave their big striking back and forth. And credit to Albazi for going out like a warrior towards the end, but wasn't enough, and Moreno's just too slick with it. So Moreno got it done by decision. I'm a happy camper because I'm a fan of Brandon Moreno, and I just thought that he'd be more talented here, and that ended up being the case. But respect to Amir Albazi. I definitely gained some respect for Amir Albazi after this fight, and he's tough as nails. If he finds the right coach, the right team, he might still be able to make a run for it at flyweight. But now Moreno can definitely make a run. If he gets one more fight high up the rankings, maybe a rematch with Royval, I don't know. Depends on the results of that Asakura and Pantoja fight. I honestly don't know what's next for Brandon Moreno when I think about it. Maybe a fight with Kaikar France, #1 contenders fight. Who knows? But great stuff from Brandon Moreno, and we'll see him again. And I'm happy about that. He needed to win this fight. Dylan failed me. He always does. Moreno is still my boy. You tell him, Mr. Weidman. Yeah, he's a wide man, all right. I tells you what. But good for Moreno, dude. That's the outcome I wanted to see. But if I really felt like Albazi was gonna win, I was going to pick Amir Albazi. But I just felt he wasn't going to because he had so many surgeries on his spine, on his heart. He's just dealing with a lot going into this fight, and he'd been gone for over a year. So I don't know. It was tough for him leading into this fight with Moreno, and it showed. But I will say that Amir looked pretty crisp at the start of the fight, and then just over time, Moreno was just breaking him down. Speaking of breaking your opponent down slowly but surely, we have our co-main event for the card. Sorry, give me 1 second to pull this up. We had Aaron Blanchfield and Thug Rose Namajunas. Aaron Blanchfield honestly was looking like the old Aaron Blanchfield we know and honestly don't really like all that much from the Tyler Santos fight and the Manon Fiorot fight as well, where she just wasn't shooting any takedowns despite being the superior grappler of the two of them and allowing herself to get caught on the feed and trying big exchanges despite the fact that she made her way all the way to the top through her wrestling, making all the classic Blanchfield mistakes that stopped her rise to the top of flyweight. And then with Thug Rose, she was doing a lot of the same. Rose was actually stuffing her takedowns and using her leaning against the cage to reverse and actually find herself on top. Blanchfield wasn't looking so hot. Even She's definitely hotter compared to Thug Rose. But Thug Rose was up 2 rounds to none going into the third. I thought to myself, oh man, Rose has got this. She's just looking like vintage Rose performance. All she has to do is keep stuffing those takedowns and landing that jab of hers and piecing her up with 1-2s and hitting more head strikes. And yeah, she's going to win this thing. But then Blanchfield, I think she actually started listening to her coaches and went for the takedown, leaned up against the fence, and hell or high water, she got the takedown. Ended up on top. Usually in a women's fight, once you get the other girl on bottom, they stay on bottom. Lots of muffin shots. Honestly, not a lot of offense on top from Erin Blanchfield, which was sort of unimpressive. And there's an argument that you could say Rose won the third round based off of damage, but I feel like she did enough to win that third round. And then fourth and fifth, she uses the threat of the takedown and feints so that she can actually start piecing up Rose Namajunas on the feet. Great work from her. In the fourth and fifth round, she started to really figure out how to beat Thug Rose with her style, or with her hybrid style of striking and wrestling. And yeah, Rose was starting to slow down, starting to get beat up a little bit, had a laceration over her right eye. And yeah, Erin Blanchfield was finally able to get some takedowns, which we have not seen for 2 whole fights at flyweight, if you can believe it. And she was able to get Thug Rose fourth round and fifth round, and that's pretty much what made it a wrap and sealed the victory for her. And Rose Namajunas she was still getting her combinations off, just not as many. And Erin Blanchfield, she was just kept pressuring forward, jab, jab, and then, body kick, jab, jab, trying to be the more young and energetic fighter out of the two of them. And it worked. So good for her. Unanimous decision went Erin Blanchfield's way. I'm surprised it wasn't a split just because it's a 5-round women's co-main event. Idaho Skatesman and I talked about this. But it's interesting. Like I considered the fact that the fight was 5 rounds a reason to pick Rose Namajunas, since she was so used to having 5-round fights, despite the fact that she had that horrible fight with Carlos Esparza, and she should never be in a 5-round fight ever again. They keep giving her 5-round fights. And so I thought she'd be more experienced for the last 2, but dude, she ended up breaking down in the last fourth and fifth rounds. So opposite of what I predicted, opposite of what Skatesman predicted. He thought that Blanchfield was going to have a hot start and that Rose Namajunas would come back. But yeah, both of us were sort of wrong about this fight, but Skatesman was right that the fifth round was going to determine it, and Erin Blanchfield won it. So congratulations to Erin. She dug deep and she got those takedowns for the win. Good shit. Honestly, both those fights were pretty competitive. Obviously, Moreno versus Albazi was way more competitive, and so for that reason, or it was way more, impactful and big back and forths and drops and stumbles. So for that reason, it was a great fight. But despite being sort of a boring fight, Rose and Blanchfield was at the very least competitive, so it kept my attention. And that's honestly rare for a Rose Namajunas fight. So I guess good job to both women for that. We then had, honestly, another surprising fight. Like towards the end of this card, there were a lot of outcomes in this card that I don't think either of us were expecting, especially in regards to knockout power at light heavyweight. We had, give me 1 second to pull this up. There we go. Whoops. Let me close this. There we go. Wiggle. Hey, Capitan Refucho. How's it going, man? Hank. Yes, sir, Capitan. Hey, man, I got the StreamYard link if you want to see it. In fact, I'll share it in the chat. Like, let's have some fucking interruptions. Why not? Get some good stuff. And Refucho never comes in unless I give the invitation. So here you go, Capitan Refucho. Here's the StreamYard link, my man. If you want to come in and join Hank the Tank as I break down this card, let me know. Everybody else, you can hop in if you want as well. I might need your help. Unlike Skatesman, who's going to go through the whole card and then have people join in. I'm going to go through this whole card, but I'll have the StreamYard link always there. So if you ever want to, you can head right in. But we had our feature fight of the evening with Brenson Ribeiro taking on Caio Machado. Honestly, it's tough. It feels like Caio Machado won this fight pretty easily. Like, Skatesman had Machado up 3 rounds. I think I had Machado up 2 rounds based on the third. But very surprising outcome. I think the UFC just thought that Kyle Machado sucked, so they just assumed that Ribeiro won 2 rounds compared to him. But no, man. Um, Ribeiro was hitting Machado's chin pretty accurately and with a lot of power in the first round, catching him on a few occasions. Um, it was mostly even work between the two, though. I did give the first round to Ribeiro, and the second round happened, and Machado started to realize, hey, I can, kick the legs and do some really awkward styles since I'm the heavyweight and come in with the left, and skirt around to the right, and make sure that he doesn't hit me. And honestly, his more defensive Shakur Stevenson kind of approach, it paid off, dude. Like he was throwing shit. Ribeiro was just eating the punishment and trying to come back with some shots, and Machado was just moving out of the way. He was actually the faster of the two fighters for a lot of this thing. And then eventually in the third round, he was really starting to hit piece Ribeiro up with some big combinations. And I thought that Machado won. But hey, I guess the referee and the judges weren't paying too much attention because they gave it to Brenson. So, oh well, it's best for Skatesman and I. We reaped the bullshit of this fight, but hey, it doesn't matter, man. This is MMA. This stuff happens sometimes. So I guess congrats to Ribeiro, but and they're probably going to cut Machado after this too, which is sort of an injustice. But you know what, Machado, he ain't that great. So it was nice knowing you. And honestly, it wasn't Machado, but it was not. It was all right while it lasted. You were here. You definitely you gave Mick Parkin a run for his money. So I guess you can say that. Of all the 5 people in here, make sure to like the stream, by the way, guys, so we could get all you filthy animals, all you troopers and grinders in the chat as Hank the Tank breaks down this card. But yeah, so that was a fight that happened for sure. And then speaking of another fight that happened, although it did have a finish, I got to give it credit. Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, the vicious one, got the submission in round 3 on Ariana Lipski da Silva. That last name sends chills down me and Skatesman's spines. Horrible, horrible last name, troopers and grinders. Wait a minute. There we go. Let me close that. Oops. There we go. Yeah, Lipski da Silva. That last name, I'm telling you guys, it's been haunting her ever since. It's been resulting in a lot of losses for her. With Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, I think this was classic Jasmine Jasuda Vicious. Get pieced up in the first round, look absolutely like trash on the feet. And then in the second round and the third round, shoot in the takedowns, get it, end up on top, and just lay in some fucking damage on top and get the submission win. Classic Jasmine Jasuda Vicious. It's nice seeing some Canadians actually be consistently good with some wins in Canada. You love to see it. Maybe it's because it was in Edmonton and not in another Canadian province. That definitely helps. But Jasmine, she finally put 2 and 2 together again. Why can't you ever just shoot a takedown in the opening seconds of the first round, Jasmine? Regardless, you eventually find your way to the ground and beat the shit out of Lipski on da Silva on top. Scoring with some big elbows. Come on, yeah, let's get some 12-6 elbows in there. Let's fucking go, yeah. Close submission attempts, and then eventually she was able to get that Darce. Ooh, brutal. Let me check to make sure it was a Darce. Yep, Darce choke. Right at the end of round 3. Absolutely punished her. Good shit. And Jasmine gets the win. The crowd went crazy. Well, they didn't because it was 3 rounds of a women's fight. So you're always going to get tired after a little while. But she woke the crowd right back up with the Darce choke win. So happy for Jasmine, and I'll see you on the next Canada card. This Hank is a breath of fresh air. Thank you very much, Dylan. It's because I'm not crashing out. I'll try to keep this approach when I go live for Hank the Tank's Fight Companions, or maybe Skatesman and I can come to an agreement where he does the UFC Fight Companions, and I can do the post shows. Chris Dawkins would beat Romanov and Nascimento at the same time. Bring him back, I say. Yeah, he probably would. Yeah, we need a Chris Dawkins to, push out the fat, get rid of the bad fat in the body. I passed out hard, Idaho. I had that post-fever sleep, no fever, though. Okay. So this was after you had a fever, and then you were finally able to get some sleep because the fever was gone. Or is it no fever, but it felt like a fever? All right, I'm confused. But Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, yeah, she's great on top, and she found a way to shoot a takedown and end up on top, which is what you're supposed to do. There you go. Then our next fight. Oh man, the most memorable fight on the card besides Moreno versus Albazi. Dustin Stoltzfus. Let's fucking go, Dustin, dude. Got the right hand knockout over Marc Andre Barrial. Who could have seen this coming? For anyone who picked this result and bet on it, you made a lot of money, sir. Marc Andre Barrial, usually a guy who likes to scrap with his opponents and just go back and forth and tough it out, and it has a granite chin. But here, man, I mean, how did he even get himself into this? Oh, now I remember. He was trying to go back and forth and do his usual Marc Andre Barrial thing, and then he just slipped. He slipped on himself and fell over. And Dustin Stoltzfus was just like, "Hey, it's free real estate. I'm gonna get that headlock on you. I got you." And then he just hooked the legs of Marc Andre Barrial and proceeded to just lay on him like his name's Mateus Gamer Gamrot for 4 whole minutes. And the referee was just like, keep going. Why not? He's doing effective control, I guess. And Marc Andre Barrial was not having a fun time on bottom. Finally manages to scramble back to his feet. Really horrible stuff from Barrial right out of the gate. How do you let Stoltzfus get on top of you? And then decided to do classic Marc Andre Barrial while he has just a minute left. Come on, let's stand and beg, you son of a bitch. I'm in the pocket. Come on, let's get close. Phone booth fight. And Stoltzfus won the phone booth fight with Marc Andre Barrial. Of all fucking fighters, right hand, chinned, down he went, slumped, mannequin challenge, bam, bam. Dustin Stoltzfus gets the knockout. Craziness. Oh, the only knockout that was on this card, and it was Dustin Stoltzfus, for God's sake. Nah, no fever, just sleep and woke up in a pool of blood. No, that's quite the error to make. Sweat. I said sweat. I'm not going down. It was sweat, you hear? I'm doing fine, Hank. Don't worry about me. I just got the AIDS disease, and it's killing me, brother. I'm spilling my guts out, man. Anyway, Dustin Stoltzfus, he got the knockout win over Marc Andre Barrial. And this just goes to show, troopers and grinders, that Dustin Stoltzfus has more power in his fists than Joe motherfucking Pyfer. And he should test the knockout power bag just to make sure that he has the world's most powerful punch. This guy's got a Ford XC7. He doesn't have a Ford Escort. He's got the upgraded model of Ford. He's got that kind of fucking punch and power. So yeah, we had now confirmed that Dustin Stoltzfus punches harder than Francis Ngannou. So there you go. Rip Marc Andre Barrial. You never had a chance against German Ngannou. Oops, sorry. Sweat your hair, sweat she. Anyway, our next fight. Going down the card. Oh boy, this one. It's going to be painful breaking this one down. I don't think I'm actually going to enjoy talking about this fight at all. This fight was so bad, dude. And it's such a shame because it's Mike fucking Malott. So you want it to be good. You want him to have like a highlight reel finish to help potentially save the card. And that is not what ended up happening, troopers and grinders. And in fact, he made it even worse. Ooh, hold on, we got a comment from Dylan. 1 second, guys. The only one with spilled guts was my foe. A thieving bilge rat. Wow. That's true. Did he happen to be named Amir Albazi? That is my question, because he's got a face like a rat in a shrew. Also, bring Chase Sherman back. Yeah, we need to bring fat heavyweights back to get rid of the moderately athletic heavyweights. I'm back. Anyway, so basically, Mike Malott, he just decided, you know what? I don't want to get finished like I was against Neil Magny and completely embarrassed. So I'm just going to kick at this guy at range and throw a punch every once in a while. But mostly I'm going to go to the body, go to the legs, and just try to get out of the way of Trevin Giles and just beat him by decision. I'm serious. That is literally the game plan that he had. At no moment did Mike Malott try to get a finish and rile up the Canadian crowd, even though I think he very well could have. And he actually left the door open for Trevin Giles to come back and try to finish Mike Malone and like give him some trouble. Because that's what Giles ended up doing. Like, I'd still think Malone won every round, but there were moments where Giles was able to get the chin of Mike Malone and start wearing on his leg and kicking it out of place and getting him to the body. Honestly, it was not that great a game plan from Mike Malone because if anything, it left him open to some takedowns. And then you know what happens to Mike Malone when he gets taken down. It's not pretty. So he somehow found a way to make this layup very close fight. Really bad look for Mike Malone. The crowd was booing him towards the end of the fight and chanting Giles, Giles, Giles. So absolute crap from Mike Malone, to be honest. I get it. He needed to win this. So, you know, in his next fight, he could be a completely different Mike Malone and actually be the one that everybody likes. But yeah, that ain't him in this fight. And he even admitted to it in the post-fight interview saying, hey, I had to do what I had to do to win. But you know who also said that? Mario Batista. And all my homies fucking hate Mario Bautista. So you're cutting it close, Mike Malone. You better have an exciting fight in your next one. Otherwise, you've lost a fan, brother. I don't care if you're from Canada and you talk like Michael Chandler. Like this was not a good look. So you got to bounce back with a highlight reel win. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty mad at you, brother. I'm wearing the man. I will enter his home. Oh no, I will greet his young spawn. Jesus Christ, Dylan. His offspring. I love that band. And I will say, new dad is home. Daddy's back. And you're going to be like Eddie Guerrero in that WWE feud. I'm your papi, Dominic. Hey, come into your daddy's arms. Hey, muchacho. Embrace your stepdad, papa. Fuck Mario Bautista. He ain't lying about his homies. Yeah, fuck Mario Bautista. You're cutting it close, Mike Malone. You're going to be the new Canadian Batista if you keep this shit up. So anyway, horrible fight aside, we then had pretty decent fight. Honestly, really close. Sort of wild that it went Ayman Zahabi's Ariel Helwani. I mean, Ayman Zahabi's way against Pedro Munoz. Like I said before, Pedro Munoz is not the young Punisher anymore. He's hardly a young prospect. He's had a few coats of paint on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Ayman Zahabi, he was just the more technical guy of the two of them, at least at the start. Like he wasn't even technical. He won the fight by being very unorthodox and throwing some crazy left hands around the guard of Pedro Munoz and like hitting him when he least expected it, like the Spanish Inquisition. Zahabi was just very surprising with his offense, and there are a lot of strikes that he performed that I don't think Munoz was fully prepared for. And so by the second round, his face was looking pretty bloodied up, was Pedro Munoz's, and we just thought to ourselves, oh man, Zahabi's got this one in the bag. He's winning so far. It could have been tied. Could have been tied 1-1 going into the third. I feel like Munoz got a few more shots off in the second round that sort of kept it close. And then in the third round, I thought Munoz was starting to come back. Got some leg kicks, starting to throw more combinations than Zahabi. Zahabi had less chances to crack with that big right hand, big left hand, sorry. And yeah, I had a 2-1 Munoz on my scorecards, but because we were in Canada, 30-27 for Zahabi. He wins it. Yay! So sort of a wild result, but hey, you know, it's the greatest MMA journalist of all time. They had to give him the win. Okay, he's pretty much royalty in the MMA news sphere. You understanding me? So Ariel had to get a win. Dana owed him one this time. So Ariel Helwani beats Pedro Munoz, and now he's got another fight in the rankings coming up. I'm fitting in the Eddie Guerrero. Brilliant. Zahabi is a puss. Don't like his style. I like his style because he actually does throw on the feet and he does land with his shots. So, I mean, I'll take some big impact moments where I can fucking get it. And then, of course, Ariel Helwani called in on Idaho Skatesman Fight Companion. Don't know who it was. Could have been Ariel, could have been anybody. But New York Rick and Frank were there as well. So I think that legitimized it. And Helwani called in and he was just fucking thrilled about it. Finally has made enough money to earn some tickets for the Buffalo Bills game with his son. So there you go. Your son. Joe Lee's wife. And so, yeah, Ariel Helwani is a very happy camper. And I don't know how he's going to interview himself when he gets on the Ariel Helwani show, but he'll find a way. Yeah, there was that fight. Very close. I mean, it was a scrap. They went back and forth. It was on for the most part, so I'm not complaining. Still, I do think that Munoz found a way to win. So honestly, pretty bad result. But you know what? It was in response to that Toronto card where all the Canadians were losing and being soy beta cucks. And finally, the UFC was like, dude, we can't trust these guys to win. And we can trust the girls to win because all the Canadian women win. We can't trust these Canadian betas to win. So now we got to bring it to the judges' scorecards. We got to start giving these guys the win, or else we're in big trouble. So then we had our next fight. So beware next time there's a Canadian man fighting in the UFC because it might just get a robbery win. They care about these local provinces. Darn, I missed the nose himself calling in. Well, you could always look at the replay of Idaho Skatesman's fight companion because you get the full phone call from Mr. Helwani, Amin Zahabi, not Hank the Tank at all. It could be Ariel Hankwani. Remember when Zahabi got murdered by Ricardo Ramos' spinning back elbow and then got it back in blood with an equally glorious spinning back elbow against a different opponent? I do remember that. And that's why, honestly, I like Amin Zahabi because he's had a few nasty finishes in his lifetime. So I gotta give Ariel credit. He's the greatest MMA journalist and fighter that's ever lived. The only one who's been better than him is Oscar Willis in BKFC, but he's coming close. He's coming close to surpassing Oscar Willis. He will always have a little respect for me for that exactly, and that's why you can't hate on Ariel Helwani. But anyway, we have our next fight. Good old Charles fucking Jourdain. Let's go, dude. Air Jourdain is back, beating up Victor Henry. Honestly, not the most solid performance from Charles Jourdain, but then again, none of his performances have been solid as of late. However, he was the taller guy in this fight at bantamweight. It was smart of him to move down a weight class. Featherweight, you're dealing with the Gene Silvas of the world. I'd head out of there too. And Jourdain was getting some slick combinations and big left hands on Victor Henry coming out of the clinch with knees. That taller frame of his is going to be a problem at bantamweight. And Jourdain, he was good on the feet in the first round, but then Victor Henry started to come back, get a few shots off of his own, keeping it close. And then he got the takedown on Charles Jourdain. And I thought to myself, dude, Jourdain's on bottom. You know what happens when Jourdain's on bottom sometimes? He locks in that guillotine, finds the win. He tried like 3 or 4 times before he got the one that worked. And some of them were tight. But the thing with Charles Jourdain, and this is what I think is really going to benefit him at bantamweight, like if he gets into those guillotine positions and he starts to really wrench on the necks of his bantamweight opponents, he could find a way to get up to his feet. That's an easy way for Charles Jourdain to get back up after a takedown. So we'll keep that in mind. Guy might have solid takedown defense thanks to that ever constant submission threat on the ground. He's got good BJJ, at least when it comes to the Brian Kelleher guillotine. And he used the guillotine to get back up and then immediately locked in another guillotine, wrenched the legs around the back, boom, tap like a bitch. There you go, Victor Henry. F off. I do like Victor Henry, you know. After he beat Yahya and that really disgusting injury he had against Javid Basharat, I believe, where he was looking completely out of shape and started to have a little bit of a career resurgence. But come on, dude, I'm not going to sacrifice Charles Jourdain for you. So Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain, finds another classic guillotine win. Good stuff from Charles Jourdain, and I'm happy to see him win. Actually, was it a Darce choke? Was it a ninja choke? Let me check that. No, it was a guillotine choke. It was classic Charles Jourdain guillotine choke. Good shit. So I'm glad he's at bantamweight where he can actually thrive a little bit. And what's our next fight after that? Ah, yes. Nice to have 2 submission wins in a row because the rest of this card was kind of shiza, I'll be honest with you guys. We had Yusuf Zalal getting the round 2 submission on Jack Shore. Now, here's the thing. I didn't see a lot of this fight. What I recall from people who were watching it, and you guys could give me some description to add to my breakdown of the fight. Seemed like Zalal was doing good work on the feet against Jack Shore. Seems like he was fast. He was getting takedowns at will when he needed to, taking the back. Classic Yusuf Zalal performance. Seemed to me like Jack Shore wasn't giving Zalal that many troubles, which made his post-fight interview actually seem legitimate, that he's coming for that belt and that he's really good. I'm going to assume that the first round went really well for Zalal, because then in the second round, boom, comes in with a knee to the face of Jack Shore, puts him down, immediately locks in, I believe it was an arm triangle, and let me check. Arm triangle choke. Yes, I always get the method of submission right because I remember. And Yusuf Zalal gets another big, massive submission win over Jack Shore. In the post-fight interview, from what I was hearing, what Idaho Skatesman was talking about, Zalal was like, first of all, I want to thank my God, alhamdulillah. And then next, I want to say I'm coming for that belt because I'm the best damn featherweight in the world. And look out, because I'm a fucking problem. Is basically what he was trying to say. And I got to thank my God for giving me this talent, and I'm going to use it to get all the way to the top. I'm winning that belt. And you know what? I am rooting fully for the Moroccan Devil over that little prick, Ilya Taporia. I'm hoping that Zalal can just get that little weasel down, lock in the rear naked choke, and get that submission win. So let's fucking go, Yusuf Zalal. Your road to the title starts now. Might have to deal with Gene Silva, and that's a tough task for anybody. But as long as you can manage to avoid that little brute, might have a chance in breaking into the rankings at featherweight. So this is the exact result that I wanted. I actually called Yusuf Zalal by round 2 submission. Good shit from Hank the Tank. And did not expect the Peyton Talbot knee up the middle on Jack Shore, but hey, I'll take it, dude. Good shit from Zalal. I wanted him to look good on the feet and the ground, and that's exactly what he did. So this little guy's a monster. What is next on this great card of ours? Horrible card, by the way. I'm still going to say it's a card. It's a terrible card. Oh, brother. This is a fight that I think got a lot of people's knickers in a twist. So let's get into it, shall we? Ooh. Uh-oh. Buffer. Bruce Buffer. Hope you guys saw my Halloween costume as Bruce Buffer, by the way. Sorry, guys. I gotta refresh. But anyway, how's everything going with you guys? Get the rest of this shitty card set up. I enjoyed the action towards the end. Like it started to pick up, and especially with that co-main event, it got me actually stressed out, which is exactly what you want. Knicker, what? Well, it's I didn't want to say panties in a twist because I honestly think that sounds a little sleazy. So I went with the British version, so that the knickers in a twist, you understand. And it worked out. I think that delivered. That one delivered. So now I got it pulled up. You got to give me a breakdown of this fight, Pulse Reloaded. You could always join in the StreamYard, by the way, to help me break down this fight. If you were, in fact, watching this fight. Because I think this is the one fight that I skipped because I was busy at the time. And Skatesman was doing the live stream for me. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. It's the invite in case people want to hang out. Whoop. I know Pulse has been on here before, so maybe I can rely on his breakdown of what happened. If not, it's completely fine. But basically, let's look at the screen. Oh, hey, look what we got here. Paradox the chat. Hey, Paradox, I need a little bit of a favor from you. Could you help me break down this fight? Give me a description of this fight and what happened. Guess my record for picks. Were you perfect? I'm actually going to assume you were perfect because I did really freaking well for this card, and so did Idaho Skatesman. So I'm actually thinking you did perfect, but maybe, just maybe, you had a really horrible one, pick record as well. Maybe you only got 1/3 of picks right, but I'm going to assume you went perfect because, like, if you did your research, you'd do pretty well on this card. That'd be awesome for the next fight for night or pay-per-view. I'd love to break down some scraps. Okay. Well, in the comments, try to help me recreate what happened with this fight because I didn't watch it. But what I'm going to assume is since it was 3 rounds unanimous decision, I'm going to I got every pick except Albazi, dude. No, like I know, stupid fucking pick. Yeah, but the thing is, man, I can understand your logic because every fighter that fans are rooting for are losing in these main events, and so I can understand you picking Albazi over Moreno because Moreno's the fan favorite, and he looked like shit against Royval. I get it, but yeah, every once in a while, it's just Albazi was dealing with fucking spine surgery. He had a heart attack recently. Like he was not in good shape. He was out for a year. And that's good enough for Moreno to beat him. And plus, Moreno was coming off a short notice replacement loss to Royval, which is completely understandable. So, but I understand the pick at the very least. Blob Fest, so fat. Oh my god, they're so fat. They're so awful and fat. It's literally my exact logic. Yep. Well, it makes a lot of sense. Taking a Hawk Pua right now. Can you tell me what happened with this fight, No Chill? I never pick who I want to win in big fights. Yeah, it's smart, but every once in a while, MMA gods shine on you. Paradox the Chad, for better or worse. Should have put in some money on everything except for the main event. But basically, Romanov, it seemed, laid on Nascimento a bunch, leaned on him when he's not strong, and he'll be fat fuck. He's gonna carry on top of you. I'll call in and tell you, no, it was terrible. This fight was so bad. That's what I assumed. I'm assuming it was a lot of leaning on the cage, lots of just laying on Nascimento, very little strikes, and just an absolute shit show. Here, I'll provide the link if you want to head in. Here we go. Let me know if that link works. But yeah, Romanov, he just out-fatted the other guy. I can't even say out-muscled because I know these two don't have any muscle, little fucking piggies. And so he probably just sweated on him a lot, and that gassed Nascimento out. And just from the pure heat energy that was coming from Romanov laying on him, that's what got him the win. So wonderful work from these two fat fucks. Great stuff. Let's move on to the next fucking fight. God damn it. If you could even call out a fucking fat fucks. All right, next one. It seemed like a pretty close fight, the one that I'm about to present. There we go. Hold on one second. Okay, now we're ready. Well, let's read Paradox's, the Chad's comment, actually. Both gassed as fuck in the second. Romanov was about to throw in the towel due to cardiovascular activity. God damn. Well, there you go. Almost pulled a Gassiev right there. You're calling in while you're on the toilet? Sitting on the toilet? Hey, girls, sitting on the toilet? Sitting on the toilet? Sitting on the toilet? And flush. Word to your mother. West Side. Anyway, our third fight. Oh, here we go. We got No Chill. Jesus Christ. I'm going to hear some fucking toilet noises. Here we go. No chill.
Oh my God, Hank the saying, Jesus Christ. I had Taco Bell. I had 2 Wawa. This is everything I ate in between bowel movements. 2 Wawa strawberry milks.
Between. Jesus
I
Christ.
had a tortilla wrap. This is from dinner. I didn't poop from dinner today to after Taco Bell today. Man, I'm like a new person.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, everybody?
You seemed like a new person during this card. Like you were raving like a maniac. You were angry at all the fights.
Bro, yeah, I got dog because they were shit fucking fights. That's why they pissed me off. This fight was good. Let me tell you about what happened with Nascimento versus Romanov. You ready for this?
Sure.
So, did you notice that there was a puddle of sweat staining the cage?
Yes, I think Rose Namajunas, the back of her head was near it at one point.
Was on it? Yeah, that came. So that's called Romanov bum oil. he had this gelatinous substance coming from his back end, and he was rubbing all over the fucking cage. This is how much Romanov pissed me off. Not only was he a fat, like he looked straight out of a Dungeons and Dragons tournament. 1, 2, entire fight had to take, and this is why Nascimento needs to be cut too. Romanov didn't raise his guard the entire fight. There's plenty of striking exchanges. He never raised his guard. Nascimento still didn't go forward because he's a fucking retard. Holy shit.
Pinned by Derek Lewis.
They all need to go. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but I thought Derek Lewis died. I almost had a heart attack on stream.
Really? Well, I mean, I just saw that he was out before the fight
started. I don't know what time you started. What time did you start watching?
When it started, around 2 p.m. my time.
All right. So, okay, so you watched the whole event. So, during the fight, they announced, so I went to go get ice cream from the freezer. I couldn't find any. I come back and I hear somebody died, and I hear, Derek. Derek, he was 39 years old. And I'm like, oh my God, Derek Lewis died. Holy fuck. But they had a staffer at the UFC in the production truck called Derek, who is 39 years old, who is also a fat black dude that died. And I thought it was Derek Lewis.
Wait, so it was another Derek fat fuck that died?
Yeah, there was another fat Derek. What's up, Hey Girl? What's up, Paradox?
That is quite the freaking coincidence. Did you know that he was out of his fight with Denise?
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, he got pulled for medical reasons, and he fucking died. I was like, I was having like a Bray Wyatt fucking moment where I was like, oh my God, no fucking way.
Yeah, that was really rough. That's honestly the worst wrestling death I've ever dealt with as a fan.
Owen Hart. Well, if you were old, Owen Hart was pretty bad, dude. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. Well, I learned about that, because I was getting into wrestling around 2015, 2016, and I watched the documentary.
Yeah, probably me too.
Yeah. So
I know City versus Armfield.
But damn, man. Well, Derek Lewis isn't booked, but Denise will be taking on Tybura at UFC 310, I believe.
Typhoon, bro, what a great fight, man! I can't wait.
No, yeah. I wonder if we'll get some more back sweat on the mat after those two.
God, man, Jesus.
Our next our next fight, or the one before the fight I just talked about between the Butterball, dude, I bet it was butter that made that little stain from just them falling over.
It was bum oil juice.
Yeah, same difference.
It was butt jelly. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I'm sure his wife loves a lot. But it's like a fat bastard.
Wife? Romanov and wife in the same sentence? Are you out of your fucking mind, dude?
Yeah, he'd crush her. He'd be responsible for manslaughter.
No, she'd be fucking dead, bro. Imagine you sleeping, that motherfucker lays on top of you, it's game over. 1, 2, 3, that's it.
Yeah, it's a similar physical sensation to, those 20s cartoons when the piano falls on somebody and turns them into just
looking like a fucking pancake.
Yeah. So anyway, our next fight was Serhi Saidi taking on Garrett Armfield. I thought this was a pretty competitive crap. Yeah, I mean this whole card was a crap, but and Nocho's taking at the moment as well. But this was between these two guys, and Saidi, he used his speed and he used his taller frame to get off some knees. Put a few combinations. But Garrett Armfield was putting the pressure on him, dude. There were a bunch of times
I scored it for Armfield 29-28.
Yeah, I honestly, and obviously look at the result. It was a split decision, so it's sort of controversial.
In Canada, too, by the way.
I thought that Armfield won 2 rounds. So honestly, the
only thing I learned, I didn't see any real. I mean, Garrett Armfield's grappling, his offensive wrestling looked improved. Not necessarily his grappling overall, because he was getting caught in submissions a few times. Only thing I really learned in this one is that City is actually Ukrainian and not from Canada.
Yeah, we saw the flag. It's wild, and it's funny. He wasn't even getting a reaction from the Canadian crowd at all, because they probably saw
the fucking Canadians weren't even Canadian.
Yeah, so
City's Ukrainian. Cal Machado's Brazilian.
God, it's sort of like Leon Edwards repping Jamaica. Even though he's been living in Britain pretty much his entire life. But I guess it works for Leon, but it doesn't work for society. But Garrett Armfield looked good here, in my opinion. The fight. He was doing really well against Brady Highstand before he got subbed out of nowhere in round 3. He did gas in that fight, but he didn't seem to have any sort of bad gas tank here. And I think the Canadian judges just took it away from him in favor of a Ukrainian. I know that No Chill has all sorts of problems with Ukraine. And so this was an absolute How dare you favor Ukraine in this matchup? No
It
favoring.
was a good fight from both of them.
Yeah. So, hey, whoever won, good for them. Oh, JL is here. Let's fucking go. JL is here. All right. Seeing Rose and Big Ears lose was very satisfying. Is he talking about rat face Albazi? I don't blame him. Yeah, fuck Albazi, dude. Base take from JL. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Albazi and Rose. You see, I was right, no chill. I enjoyed seeing Albazi and Rose lose, especially Albazi. His big ass ears is now on a 2-fight losing skid. I've never known. And this guy supports Bilal Muhammad and his weird
but he says K-Car friend. I mean, Bilal Muhammad, to be fair, like he was looking pretty cool against Leon. Albazi got his shit handed to him pretty bad. Way worse than the KKF fight.
Yeah. I just don't really understand JL knocking a fighter's looks when like half the guys that he supports in the Discord are ugly looking fucks. That's what's
I'm done ever trying. I will never get in an argument with JL, bro. He was calling Bilal Muhammad as champ like 2 years ago, dog. I'll never fucking.
That is true, and he called Drickus' success as well. So JL knows the future champions when he sees them. He should be a talent scout for the UFC. He's already gotten in. You know, I love seeing Albazi getting his ass whooped. Giant ass grin seeing Rose lose. This isn't healthy. Actually, it is. It's called being an MMA fan. It's
the Rose fight was bad, man.
Yeah, although it was important to me because I had that picks competition with Skatesman going at the time. Dude, I was number 1 in the Rush Hour Topology League for like most of the card, like going into like the 8th fight. Like I was still number 1 for the whole thing. And then
what was your record?
I think I had 11 wins. I had 11 wins. Only 2
Just
fights
one.
I got wrong with. Skatesman is so fucking lucky, dude. He's so lucky. Like
he got all of them
the same amount of wins. He always gets the method. He always gets the methods of victory right because he just decision spams.
I got one. I got one incorrect.
Yeah, good shit from No Chill MMA, by the way. Well,
I thought Power Bar was gonna win, but Power Bar got smoked.
Yeah, I mean there are certain fights where it's just a random outcome, and fighter's style that's go to just goes right out the fucking window. Were any of us expecting Power Bar to just trip out of nowhere and for Stoltzfus to end up on top and then get in a scrap with Power Bar and be the one to chin him?
Yeah,
like those are the most unexpected outcome of all time.
Did you see the clip?
What?
Oh, you want me to send it to you?
Sure. Why not? We can have a little break in between. But yeah, you should not be ashamed at all for seeing Rose and Albazi lose. Fuck those two. But at the same time, like I'm just surprised that JL's never he's just never aligned with us when it comes to which fighters are actually unlikable. Like the fact that he's behind Gamrot, despite him probably being the worst guy to hold a microphone at a press conference ever. Like I'll just never understand that, you know. Paradox of Chad, Hank, he literally got flatlined like 3 months ago. I get it, but there's Joe Pyfer and then there's Dustin fucking Stoltzfus, who's never gotten a knockout in the UFC. Okay, like I don't expect a piece of a plastic bag to knock out Marc-Andre Barriol, and that's the equivalent of Dustin Stoltzfus. He's dust. It's like literally a hint of dust. That is Dustin Stoltzfus' punching power. But he showed it. Good for him. It was always a possibility. Yeah, he went 3 rounds with Chris Curtis and didn't get hurt once, so I don't want to hear it. Sorry for talking about fights that aren't being talked about right now, but I couldn't go ahead, JL. Dude, JL, we got a fucking invite link, dude. If you want, you could hop on and chat with us about the fights. Come on, we need to.
Not JL. I think Andre Berry's getting cooked.
JL hour. Come on now. Where's that?
He's 0-3 in his last 3.
You're taking forever with your pudgy fingers. Where's the freaking link? Oh, here it is. Okay, we're good. Oh,
there's a link. Let's you might have to cut Power Bar.
It's not copyrighted music, is it?
Nah.
No, okay. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That was my reaction to seeing Stoltzfus chin bury you.
Oh shit! No! Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know what's up.
Wow, wishing death on other fighters. Always stay classy, no chill. Very, very
Oh, I
good.
just
Very good.
wanted to kill him in the fight. Hank the Tank, you isn't what this is, Hank. This is a classic tactic.
Honestly, it's a better reaction than the monkey noises that you made during Cannoneer versus
that was
Growlo.
crazy.
Yeah, I was almost on that level. I would, but I have to go. I'll see if I could come on next time if you're cool. No problem, JL. No problem. I'll be heading out. Have a good night. I know I have already. Yep. Fuck Rose and fuck Amir Albazi. I think that was in a verse of the Bible somewhere. See, it was part of a Bible passage somewhere. It was on this day that Rose Namajunas and Amir Albazi both lost in the same night. We earned this, no chill. After all the fucking shit we've put ourselves through with UFC 308 and UFC 307, and having fucking Pena as a champion, and then having that little fucking Spanish rat chin. We earned this shit, okay? We earned this.
So, I don't know, dude. I like 308 a lot more than this shit, bro.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm not saying in terms of card quality. I'm saying in terms of results and outcomes.
Winners.
Which is
yeah, but it's the way that they won too. Like, yeah, Mike Mallet won, but it was like, yeah, barely, and it wasn't even a good performance.
I still hope they put a power puncher against Renat for his next fight, so he just get chinned.
You want dude? There's no such thing as a power puncher with these gloves, bro. How about that?
That is true. Unless your name is Dustin Stoltzfus, in which case the gloves.
Fuck, and then you got the Thor's
It's
hammer
always
in your
the guys
hand.
you least expect. Zachary fucking Reese gets a knockout out of nowhere. First guy to ever get a knockout with the new gloves. It just makes all the sense in the world, no chill. But our next fight, second fight, I believe. Cody Gibson.
All right, I gotta go. I'm not talking about Gibson. Fuck. This is a strangling.
My job. All right. Well, it was nice having you on the show, No Chill. Thank you for sitting on the toilet, sitting on the toilet and flush. Oh yeah. But yeah, Cody Gibson got the unanimous decision win over non-Chad. I knew he wasn't a Chad. Fake Canadian Chad. Fake Chad. Chad Enhilliger, the monster. He ain't no monster, bruh. Soon as he gets put on his back, he is done. I knew that with Cody Gibson. You know, he was all right on the feet against Chad Enhilliger, but this whole thing was decided on the ground, and Cody Gibson was able to get the takedown. Came really close with an arm triangle at one point. I love seeing arm triangles. That's my favorite kind of submission. He came close with it. No cigar. And then in round 3, just took him down and beat the absolute shit out of him on the ground and got another submission attempt as well. Happy for Cody Gibson. After having a close fight with that evil motherfucker, Brad Katona, I was hoping that Cody Gibson would find his way back to the top. And that is exactly what happened. Let's fucking go, Cody Gibson. America, baby. Represent. I got a cat. Good for you, Paradox the Chad. I need to get a cat as well. I love cats. So my parents need to come to a fucking decision and get themselves a goddamn cat. Yeah, Cody Gibson. Easy work from Cody Gibson, the American Renegade, baby. Fuck yeah. That's what I wanted to see happen. The thing with Cody Gibson, if he'd have taken down Brad Katona a few times, I think he would have gotten that win over him easy. But can't always have nice things, can we, troopers and grinders? Instead, he's still pushing his way back to the top. Oh, by the way, let's look at the bonuses, because those have actually come out recently. There were some post-show bonuses. There were some worthy picks on there, I believe. Here we go. So we had. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay, so first bonus went to Yusuf Zalal for performance of the night. I agree. Beautiful knee and then submission to boot. Charles Jourdain. I mean, this shows how shitty the card was that a fluke-ass guillotine from Charles Jourdain gets performance of the night. Dustin Stoltzfus, dude. Let's go. He's going to need that 50K because he ain't winning any more fights after this. And then I'm going to assume, oh no, Jasmine Jasuda Vicious got performance of the night too. Good shit from Jasmine Jasuda Vicious. Lovely. And nothing else. There was no fight of the night. I honestly thought the main event deserved fight of the night. It was pretty fucking awesome. in my opinion. But hey, I'll take a bunch of performance bonuses for rookies. I like that. And we like that, folks. And we like that. But in our final fight was between Jamie Lynn Horth and Ivana P. Hey, everybody. Is there an Ivana P? An Ivana P? Hey, everybody. Put down your glasses. Ivana P. Good old Jamie Lynn Horth was able to stuff the takedown. Petrovic, Ivana P, and just beat her up on the feet, reversed a lot of the exchanges between the two. Jamie Lynn Horth is butt ugly, so you got to knock her a little bit for that. But in terms of fighting ability, she was just able to outmuscle Ivana P and got some damage off when she had her own back to the cage and back to life, back to reality. She sent Ivana Petrovic back to reality, as well as probably back to Cage Warriors too. And yeah, she just had good scrambles and reversals for everything Ivana P had for her. And good. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I didn't share my screen. God damn it. She got the win, split decision win. So very, very close one. But I thought she had the better grappling out of the two of them. So good shit from Jamie Lynn Horth. And yeah, they're both shit. Fuck them both. Is all I got to say about that. Let's go to the full card just because we got 13. Let's do a full card rundown. How about it, guys? Yes, sir. We're marathoning this shit, homies. Jamie Lynn Horth split decision win in a shitty fight. Cody Gibson got a few takedowns. That's what won him the fight. Shitty fight. Surrey City barely beat Garrett Armfield. I had Armfield winning in a pretty good scrap between two young strikers. Alexander Romanov laid on Rodrigo Nascimento and leaned on him and breathed on him and just did anything you'd expect a fucking fat creep to do. And got the unanimous decision win. Everybody hated this fight. It was probably the worst fight on the whole card. Yusuf Salal got a beautiful knee on Jack Shore and then his arm triangle choke right after that. He's coming for that featherweight belt. Best get ready. Charles Jourdain locked in the classic Charles Jourdain guillotine choke on Victor Henry. Looked really good at bantamweight. This is not the end of Charles Air Jourdain. Ariel Helwani got the decision win against Pedro Munoz. I thought Munoz won, but good for Ariel. He'll have a lot to talk about on his show. Mike Malott had, honestly, probably the worst performance of his UFC career without getting finished against Trevin Giles. Fuck you, Mike. Have a fun performance. Dustin Stoltzfus has a fun performance and gets a random-ass right hook and wins the exchange battle with Marc-Andre Barriault and also gets a lucky-ass trip from Marc-Andre that set him up for the knockout win. Good for Dustin. He'll never get another performance for the rest of his life. Performance bonus for the rest of his days. Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, the vicious one. Jazzy J got the Darce choke on Ariana Lipski because she was actually able to get takedowns and was actually a grappler and beat the shit out of her on the ground. Classic Darce choke. Let's fucking go. Brenson Ribeiro got a horrible split decision win against Kyle Machado, who, in my opinion, beat Ribeiro by winning rounds 2 and 3 and just did more in the fight. But hey, the judges weren't paying attention and the UFC hates Kyle Machado. Aaron Blanchfield beat Rose Namajunas in a very close fight. Got the last 3 rounds by getting the takedowns. We haven't seen that in such a long time in her last 2 fights. But hey, if there's any time to learn how to shoot takedowns again, it was this fight. And she dug deep and she actually learned how to wrestle again. So good for Aaron Blanchfield. She actually has some hype. Good for her. And then Brandon Moreno just beat the shit out of Amir Albazi over 5 rounds. Maybe one moment where Moreno got dropped, but the rest of it was a one-sided beatdown for the assassin baby. Let's go. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I promise you, man, I'm coming back for that flyweight belt. Viva Mexico, cabrón. Viva Mexico, cabrón. Anakin MMA. What is up, Anakin? Canada won big tonight. God, you changed your profile pic to Mike Malott. That was a horrible, horrible performance from Mike, dude. What are you doing? Armfield deserved to lose after he had the robbery win versus Brad Katona. That was a pretty close fight. Come on. To be honest, Malott, you're going full on Canadian bias here. I can tell. Malott had a shitty performance, Anakin. To be honest, Malott had that performance because he didn't want to get KO'd. It was smart how he approached. That is true. He allowed himself to get the win, but lost his stock in the process. I do hope they let him on the next Canada card so he can prove himself again. I do hope, but yeah. I guess I'll still be a fan of Mike Malott. He's lucky that the guardrail didn't fall on him again this time. That would have hindered things for sure. But yeah. This is just solid, man. Solid show. I know it wasn't solid. It was a shit show, to be honest. But it did have a good main event. Had a few highlight reel performances from the guys who needed to have a highlight reel performance. And yeah, good shit for the guys that we wanted to see have a future in the UFC at the end of the day. And you know what, Ariel? I'm coming for that belt. Who's next for Zalal and Zahabi? Good question, Anakin MMA. That'll lead me to Tapology, where I'm gonna look that up and look at the rankings that are right above Yusuf Zalal. Give me 1 second. Good question, Mike Malote. Yusuf. Oops. Yeah, Zalal did everything right tonight. He did everything he could possibly do to get himself over. It's too bad he's 16-5, man. He's pretty good. 0 difference with the new rules. Yeah, exactly. So UFC fighters are going to UFC fighter. At the end of the day, where's Yusuf? Wait, where'd Yusuf go? There he is. You know what? Oh, no. He's got Padilla. I think a fight with Joe Anderson Brito would be pretty good. What do you guys think? Joe Anderson Brito? That'd be a pretty cool back and forth, right? Can Brito stuff the takedowns? He's got his own ninja chokes. You know, will it play out on the feet? Who gets the better of that fight? I'd love to see him versus Brito. Maybe he could destroy Nathaniel Wood as well, since we need to get rid of Nathaniel Wood. He fucking sucks. There's Gomez as well. But Gomez, Chip Mariscal, too. And there's a few good guys that I could give him to. But he's 21 right now. Or at least ranked 21 on Tapology's rankings. But I like him versus Joe Anderson Brito. I think that's a pretty good fight. Just looks cool, you know? There's William Gomez. Who wants to ever have a fight with William Gomez? There's Nate the Train, but he's underneath Yusuf Zalal. Would be a close fight, though. But I think that Yusuf is at a point where he should get a guy up the rankings. He's been doing pretty damn well. Woodson got a win, but he's facing Padilla. Yeah, give him Brito. And then in terms of Zahabi, Ariel Helwani, let me look that up. Ige is starting to lose more fights. Wouldn't mind him versus Zalal one day, one of these days. But I'd give Ige a layup matchup in the meantime, since he had a really close fight with Lerone Murphy at the same time. Like Dan Ige knows how to lose. He always finds a way to gain stock even from losses, because he dropped Murphy. That was pretty damn good. Let me go to Ayman Zahabi. There we go. Good old Ariel, dude. Went from MMA journalist to hyped up Canadian prospect. Can you believe it? All right, so he's number 23 in the world. There's Yanez. Yeah, he's taking on Daniel Marcos, so no. Montel Jackson, no. Chris Gutierrez, that's pretty good. Simone, whatever, no. Vinicius Oliveira, no. I wouldn't put him against Saeed. Kyler Phillips, that's a bit cruel. I think Gutierrez would be good. I'd like to see him versus Gutierrez. That's another good technical scrap. And to see if he can actually last against a tough technical Brazilian. Because I honestly think that he lost to whatever his name is. Oops. Wait a minute. What is his name again? God damn it. I'm losing it. Pedro Munoz, yeah. He beat Pedro Munoz, but in my opinion, I think Pedro Munoz beat him. So I think him versus Gutierrez makes a lot of sense. So Zahabi, who looked great, to be fair. Yeah, Zahabi did look solid, but I don't think he did enough to win. He had very unorthodox striking, and that was good. But I do think Munoz pulled it off at the end. It's just tough to win a fight decisively against Pedro Munoz. That is true. Wild opinion. I don't think it's wild. I don't think it's wild. I think it's a perfectly sane opinion. But then again, I'm an insane human being, so everything I say I believe is sane. But it's usually not true. Pedro's face was messed up. Yeah, but in the third round, he was piecing up Ayman Zahabi. And don't you fucking deny that he was piecing up Ayman Zahabi towards the end. He was. He was getting some good combinations off against Zahabi. And if it had been 5 rounds, we'll see who wins that matchup. So I know I'm pulling a Marlon Cheeto Vera argument, but still. So yeah. Oh, look who's here.
Look who it is. Rafuka in the building.
It is the man who I wanted to see, right? It's too long, dude. Capitan Rafuccio is here, man. I was waiting very patiently. I am glad I stayed on for an extra 10 minutes. How are you doing, man?
Oh, man, doing good right now. And sheesh, the fight night between Moreno versus Albazi. I mean, that was like a huge banger. I mean, that was like a very crazy, traumatically crazy, because in my opinion, Brandon should have finished the fight. I mean, it has nothing on them because he just wobble like 4 or 5 times and he still can't finish. I mean, Amir didn't back up because it was just like he does not engage in the trouble at the same time. I mean, wasn't like the favorite self. I mean, and I still think that Brandon would have won against Amir with a lot of momentum with no time off. But that wasn't a very impressive. It might sound crazy, but I think might be like the glows. I mean, that TKO on this card, I mean, it took like a Barrio fighting like the dumbest human on earth.
It was a cursed card in terms of KOs. Nobody was getting knockouts except for Dustin Stoltzfus, of course. No power. Dustin Stoltzfus finds a knockout of Marc-Andre Barrial in a scrap.
Exactly.
But I'm very impressed with Brandon Moreno, to be honest. I thought he won every single round against Amir Albazi, including the round where he got dropped in round 3. Like he stumbled him a bunch of times, and you know what I think is the reason why he wasn't able to finish Amir Albazi? It's because Albazi doesn't get finished. He's never gotten finished going into the Moreno fight. His chin is still pretty good, and so it was getting cracked probably for the first time in his career. But just because it gets cracked doesn't mean it gets put out. Like there are guys like Max Holloway who get dropped once, and then they come back. Obviously, it has to be that little Spanish gnome, Ilya Taporia, that puts him out. That's always great. But I feel like Amir, his chin was untested going into that fight, and I think that's why he didn't get put out cold. But in his next fight, if he gets cracked, he's going to get put out cold because he got dropped 4 or 5 times by Brandon Moreno. I think if someone else who's a big, like take for instance Kai Kara France, you think Kai Kara France isn't going to put him out? He's going to fucking destroy Albazi and put him out cold.
I know, but it seems that it's not going to be very active. I mean, between for like Brandon Moreno has a great striking technique, and between for that fight, I mean, we know about the impressive duality with the decent grappling. I mean, I don't think that last fight between for Moreno against Royo was very close and arguably because he just landed the hardest shots in the fight. And I just think that they still have some juice left in the tank. And I think it's the better overall fighter than Albazi. But I think that I was not that very disappointed, but it seems that it became very huge on that level. Because remember when Albazi has been very inactive for a few weeks ago, and a 5-round matchup, I mean, probably not the best idea, but they have the great finish. But it wasn't that very surprising that everything a lot. But it's gonna be it'll look great. I mean, Albazi, this something I've got some serious rust on him because during for the grappling strengthening, it looks very rusted. Look very rusted at all because it's not even on the same class.
Yeah. And even when he did get Moreno down, all he had to do, scoop, oh, I'm up.
Yeah.
I think that's the point where Albazi was starting to give up a little bit. Dude, this is my best weapon for beating Moreno, and he just got out of it like that. And it's hard to out-grapple a guy who won his, first world championship by out-grappling Davison Figueiredo. So Brandon knows how to deal with situations on the ground. His problem, I think, with that Royval fight is that he was preparing for Amir Albazi. He was not expecting a Brandon Royval. And so with Royval, he was just like, oh, I'll just do my overhand right. That's how I won my first fight against Royval. And I think he got thrown off, and that's why he lost against Royval. I sincerely believe that if those guys were to have a third fight, I think Moreno beats Royval handily. He isn't reliant on his takedowns, and even if he did use his takedowns, he'd at least win 2 rounds. And on the feet, he looked like classic Moreno here, vintage Moreno. I think he'd be the same Moreno. I just feel like at altitude, different opponent. I feel like Moreno, and especially like after he lost to Pantoja a third time, that's got to be demoralizing. So I think everything was against Moreno going into that Royval fight, and now he's fully back, dude. What do you want to see from Moreno next? Who's your next opponent for him? Hi, Piggly Wiggly, by the way. Good to see you.
Yeah, I think between for like Brandon Moreno, I mean, there's gonna be like a lot of things to have to prove himself. I mean, after he just suffered like against Amir Albazi, and I think the only thing that I just really wanted to know, because I know that it ranks number 2, but he became like a very assassin of that fight, and I know it's became like 5 wins by knockout, 11 wins by submission, but I think that the next fight, it will be because he's on the flyweight division. So I think that between for the flyweight, this is going to be like a really choice about it. So I think I smell like I think it's going to be like an Alessandro Pantoja. Give it like Brandon Moreno a shot. Give it like Brandon Moreno a shot against Alessandro Pantoja, because I know it might be cruelly dangerous, but give me Brandon Moreno versus Alessandro Pantoja, maybe at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. That should be interesting for the flyweight.
That could. Well, it all depends on what happens between Pantoja and Kai Asakura. Now, I'm not really going to give Asakura a chance just because all the ways that he's finished his fight have been through a grounded knee in Ryzen, and a lot of his tools and his weapons have been taken away. But I could also see Asakura just hitting that miracle shot and putting Pantoja out cold. Like, kid can fucking throw. So I'll give him a shot, but I don't think he's going to win. I think Pantoja is going to retain, but I think it makes sense in the long run to have a number 1 contenders fight. Moreno and Kai France 2. Tell me that people wouldn't want to see that fight. After that first fight they had, I think that's a great number 1 contenders fight. I think that'd be pretty good. But then again, Royval won against Kai France. I mean, he won against Tatsuro Taira. So, they're in such a gridlock at flyweight. It's always such an uncomfortable situation at the top of flyweight. But I do think that either what you said with the Pantoja title shot again, since that's what we wanted, and it was a close fight between the two, first split decision. I got to say, Pantoja got so lucky against Steve Erceg that he went for that takedown. Because if he'd have kept it on the feet, I think we would have seen Steve Erceg as the UFC flyweight champion. But he shot that takedown. And honestly, I don't even think Pantoja did that much on top against Erceg. I think he should have lost that fight. So he's come very close with these split decisions on occasion, but he's got that leather boot for a chin, and that's what keeps him through. And so I think him versus Kai or him versus Pantoja. And Skatesman makes a good point. A lot of rematches on the horizon for Moreno either way. And you know what? Those are going to be money fights. Everybody wants to see Moreno at flyweight do well. And so I think this is absolutely the best outcome that could have happened from Moreno versus Albazi. I think this works better, Hank. Yeah, maybe I can just do post-show. And I don't know. Hank still won't let the Steve Erceg versus... Yeah, I'm not going to, because he still won that fight, damn it. And even if he didn't, you got to give Erceg his props for being the scariest matchup that Pantoja's ever dealt with, in my opinion. I know that Royval gave him a run for his money, but Erceg actually knew how to walk down Pantoja and survive most of the grappling exchanges. So either way, it's going to be very interesting at flyweight, which I honestly thought I was never going to say after the Erceg loss. I thought, and after Tatsuro Taira lost to Royval, I was just like, dude, flyweight's so cooked right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We still got some options. Dana's going to pull a few strings. He's going to owe people a few favors and, get it done and try to make flyweight interesting. He always tries. Either that or he's going to give Pantoja the Mighty Mouse treatment. Basically be like, oh, yeah, Pantoja, he never did anything for this company. Ever. Nobody went up to bat more for Pantoja than I did, but also he has the lowest selling pay-per-views of all time as a flyweight champion. What a loser, am I right? And then he ships him to 1, even though he's the champion. Hank at 60-year-olds. You know, Steve Erceg actually beat Pantoja, and he did. So yeah, I'm taking that to the grave. But you know what? I won't have to, because eventually someone's gonna beat Pantoja, and I never have to talk about that fucking Uber ever again. So there you go. Is there anything else you want to chat about regarding the card, Rafucho?
Ooh, I mean, between for this one, I mean, the main card looks very amazing at all. I mean, they're just like a series of bangers of Edmonton, Canada. But don't be surprised if Bruno Silva could be like an updated for that flyweight division. I know, call me crazy about that, but Bruno Silva is gonna take over the top 10 because he opens it up. I know he's very professional at all. But have you ever seen like a Bruno Silva going out there? I wonder if it's gonna submit a submission fight against Steve Erceg. I mean, it's not gonna be because I know he's been suspended for 6 months for like an out-team doping, but don't be surprised if the next year Bruno Silva, after his suspension, could be like anything for like getting high or getting low. But the rest of this card, I mean, that was look very great. I mean, Canada, it provides like the best audience that they have at the UFC. I mean, there's like a lot of surprises up there, but also there's like disappointments. But yeah, I think that I will rank like the main card between for like 8 or 10. 8 or 10.
Really? You're giving this card an 8 out of 10?
Yep.
Okay, now you know Skatesman is right. You're capping at this point.
No.
It's a 4. It is a 4. Damn it! Is this seriously on the same level as UFC 308 to you? What is wrong with you?
I know, because I haven't seen anything, but
oh, you didn't watch nothing. I see. Wow, you capped your whole experience for this. You just wanted to show up.
Yes.
Show up on the podcast, you son of a. You're on the same level as DJ Aiden in No Chill's. Like, hey, can I come in here and do the podcast with you, No Chill? And then he gets let in, and he's laying on his bed. He's like, whatever. I don't know what we're talking about, so I'm just gonna hang out, not do anything. Okay. And then he dies. You know what I mean? He just wanted to hop on. Yeah,
oh my god!
He just wanted to hop on. That poor anorexic DJ Aiden.
Yeah. Just
Bruno
Silva.
Right, we're gonna have.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
No problem at all. But thanks for having me. And of
Bruno
course,
Silva's taking on Manel Cap. Bruno Silva against Manel Cap. That's going to be a great fight.
Oh, okay.
Go.
I see it. Okay.
Manel Cap. All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Capitan Rafucho. See you later, man. That's so rude, Hank. And is it not true? Am I lying here? Hey, girl. I think there's a hint of truth to it. Come on. Idaho Skatesman got so much more ethnic all of a sudden. Yeah, I know. You've developed your accent very well. It's honestly pretty hot, Idaho Skatesman. It's not bad. Don't replace me with another brown man. I won't. I'll just have him in the live stream every once in a while, just to spice things up. Add a little bit of that Latin flavor to the podcast. Because you're Idaho. You're from Idaho. You got the Latin blood in you, but dude, you're fucking American goddamn conservative. And don't you forget it, brother. You are 100% red, white, and blue blood. A little true. So, yeah, with that being said, Troopers and Grinders, I think I'm going to head out. Always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. And until we meet again, Troopers and Grinders, this show was fucking bad. But until we meet again, Troopers and Grinders, you have escaped the war zone for now. Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet. And flood.